Hi guys, it's April. Goodreads is down right now and I have no idea if all the books that I have pulled for this video are the only books that I have read in the last 2 weeks. So you might get some extra next wrap up in case I accidentally forget any of them that I read these last 2 weeks. You may be wondering how someone can forget a book that they have read, especially when it's only in a 2-week time span. But let me tell you, so much has happened in these past 2 weeks that I am surprised I even still remember my name. So that is a good thing right there. I remember who I am. August has been an interesting reading month. I wrapped up the first part of August in my mid-month wrap-up, and now I have my end of August wrap-up in which I am going to try and review all of these books for you. So even though I am not entirely sure these are all the books, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah. I can say with some degree of confidence that this is probably about it for the last part of August. I also reached over 3,000 subscribers this month. Yay, you guys are absolutely amazing and I heart all of your beautiful faces. I did a live show. It was interesting. I attempted to make ketchup macaroons. I didn't hate them. But if you want to see the fiasco that was that, I will provide you with links because I'm all about sharing my awkwardness. It's a thing. But now we will get into the whole point of this video, and it's wrapping up these books. I will try my best to wrap these up, but my brain is so stinking scattered right now. I'm sorry if none of this makes sense at the end of the day, but I am going to try my stinking hardest. So the first 2 books I have are the rest of the Twisted Tales series by Liz Brushwell. I started out with A Whole New World, which is a retelling of Aladdin in which Jafar gets the lamp. And so Aladdin and Jasmine have to figure out a way to save Jasmine's kingdom. I didn't completely hate the story, but the way that Jasmine was altered in this story, I had a few issues with because Jasmine is one of those Disney characters that I have always loved, and to try and make her dark like that and just I didn't really enjoy it. And the fact that there were some zombie-esque type twists in the story, I won't tell you how, but I'm not a huge fan of zombies and I wasn't particularly keen on how they were thrown into this story. The way that Jafar was portrayed and the things that he was pushed apparently into doing didn't make sense on some levels because you just didn't know where they were coming from. It was out of the blue in some instances, at least in my opinion, of what I recall of the thousands of watchings of Aladdin in my lifetime. It didn't feel right with Jasmine and Jafar and how those were played out. I do like Aladdin's character. I liked him a lot. I like what happened with him in the story. But overall, I just nah. And then Once Upon a Dream kind of carried on in that meh kind of feel that I have for this whole series. So I probably won't be picking up any more of these books. This one is a retelling of Sleeping Beauty in which Sleeping Beauty is not woken up by the prince. He doesn't make it, unfortunately. So things start to play out as if happily ever after did not happen, and things continue on from there. The take on the story got a little uncomfortable for me at points just because of the way Aurora's character mentally develops and some of the things that happen to her. It just, once again, there were things, and this was such a mental head case read that, something about it, I couldn't, and it didn't. I think the problem with me in these stories is I am such a Disney girl that I have attached myself to a lot of these characters, and the way some of these Twisted Tales twist the characters, it feels wrong, and part of my brain just won't let me get over that fact. So this, yeah, it was something I read. I probably won't ever reread it. And then came In the Shadows of Blackbirds by Kat Winters, and I absolutely love this book. Oh my gosh, the things. Kayla Rain knows what she is talking about when she totes Kat Winters and her writing and all of her amazing stories, and I'm really getting into her stories. There's a whole bunch back there that I still need to read, and I'm looking forward to reading them. And I will stop gushing and actually tell you what this book is about. This is the story of Mary Shelley, who is off to San Francisco to live with her aunt because her father has been arrested and the flu is absolutely running rampant. So she's going to San Francisco to hopefully get away from the flu, to live with her aunt, and just survive the war that is going on right now. In the process of moving in with her aunt, she learns that the love of her life has died at war. Through a weird series of events, she is struck by lightning and she starts to sense his spirit. Things get really weird after that. There's a lot of spirit photography and seances that go on in this story, and then there's dealing with the Spanish influenza that is running rampant everywhere at this point in time. And it just shows a strong female character who is just driven to figure out what has happened to the love of her life. She's just willing to break all kinds of stereotypes just to find out what happens. She won't take no for an answer. She wants all the information. She's a scientist at heart, which I love. And of course, there's these supernatural elements inside, which just pull at my heart so much. I love it. I love how Kat Winters pulls in the supernatural and strong females. It's just, I like it. I like it a lot. Then I picked up Under the Never Skies by Veronica Rossi. This is the story of a world that is divided into those who are living in the wilds and those who are living underground with technology that is the only thing that is keeping them alive. Arya is one of those that has been confined into this little living space, but most of her life she lives digitally. She has an eyepiece that helps her live in this digital world. Through a series of events, she finds herself outcast into the wild and having to survive. She meets one of the savages, and they start a journey together to figure out what is going on with a lot of things inside the shelter and outside the shelter, and just learning to survive together. I did not expect to like this story as much as I did. Sometimes with sci-fi, things can just not make sense, and I need the science to make sense and the reasoning to make sense. Otherwise, I can't do it. That's the whole point of sci-fi, is to have science backing it up. This book didn't bother me in any way, and I liked some of the things that this series apparently is going to attempt to do, and I really want to pick up the next book. So if that doesn't tell you what I think about the series, I don't know. I also picked up Wither by Lauren DeStefano. Probably shouldn't read sci-fi back to back with each other because I tend to compare. This is a dystopian society in which people don't live very long. Females only live to 20, males only live to 25, and Rhine is one of those such females. She is kidnapped one day and then she is sold to be a bride. In this society, males are given multiple brides in which to proliferate the world. That right there just started to bug me a lot. This is the story of her learning to live with her sister wives, and then learning some of the secrets that are going on inside of this house. This is one of those books where I needed the science to work. There wasn't enough backing up of the science or the substance there for me to fully enjoy this read. I kept on questioning things that probably don't matter until later on in the story. And then just the whole idea of sister wives and the slight downgrading of females. Part of me just, why? Tell me why. Tell me why. I have the rest of the series on my bookshelf. I'll probably be picking them up just because I have them, and maybe some of the science starts to make sense in this and the reasoning behind everything. The whole reason I picked up this series in the first place and picked all of them up without ever really deciding if I like the story or not first is because of these beautiful covers. They were cover buys. I don't know how I'm gonna like the rest of the series. Yeah. Finally, I picked up Strands of Bronze and Gold by Jane Nickerson. This is a Bluebeard retelling, so I knew right away that this was gonna be a bit of a mind trip. And oh goodness, it very much was. Sophia ends up living with her godfather after the death of her father in hopes that their good relationship would keep the rest of her family living comfortably. In the process of Sophia moving in with her godfather, she starts to pick up some weird things about his house, in his life, in his temperament. This is a story about an extremely abusive relationship. I'm just gonna put that out right now. The Bluebeard story is the story about a man who takes wives and murders them. And through this, there's a lot of psychological things that go down. Sophia is unsure of whether or not she can leave this life and how she could leave this life, especially when she still has a family to worry about. And her godfather seems to be the only solution that she can think of at this very moment. I say all of this because this could be a very triggering book. So I'm sorry if I spoiled this story. Technically, I spoiled this story as soon as I told you it was a Bluebeard retelling, but just putting the rest out there, I am sorry if you don't like the fact that I just told you a good chunk of very interesting facts about this book. But with that being said, it was a read that I did find myself being pulled back into, as much as I felt really... It pushed me emotionally. Let's just say that. Overall, it pushed me emotionally. So those were the books I think I've read the last 2 weeks. I'll let you know if there was any more that happened to exist. Tell me down below if Goodreads is your primary way of keeping track of your books and if you're lost without it like I am. Or if you are better organized than me. I heard your beautiful faces. Bye.